everybody, it's Dr. Jerisa ER coming to you today with your tips for your ER trip. I am board certified emergency medicine. I help confused, anxious, scared patients in emergency health conditions. With my expertise, you will leave relieved, healthy, and back to baseline. Today is kind of cool because I love to talk about fun topics. In emergency medicine, we like action. And so, unfortunately, when it comes to overdose, it really kicks us into action. And what I wanted to say as a first tip is, if there are children in your life, and let's say you're visiting someone else, you're visiting maybe a family member or friend, maybe their grandparent or cousin, and they may take medication. They may actually not be around kids on a regular basis. And unfortunately, when that happens, it can be overlooked that there's pill bottles around, or even the Monday through Sunday containers can be overlooked. And the only reason why I mention that is because it does happen. It happens quite frequently, unfortunately, where kids, they're active and they get into things and they will consider that medication and they will look and search for that medication. And it's not a good thing. So just keep in mind when you're visiting other people that may not have kids in their home on a regular basis, take a look around, make sure there's no pills on the coffee table that could be confused as candy by a child. What I wanted to do today is really talk about some of the over-the-counter medications that unfortunately can cause a problem or accidental overdose. Right now we're in the 3C season, cough, cold, congestion season, and so a lot of people are taking medication over the counter. I love over the counter medication and vouch for it. Absolutely. You have symptoms, you need relief, take an over the counter medication. But you want to be careful not to take too much. Just because it might taste good. There's a couple that I really like. And there's one that I really love because it tastes good. It has a nice cherry flavor. And as the directions say, you take it at the onset of symptoms, and it's really good. I actually vouch for it. But you want to be careful to not take too much, and that has happened. I actually have admitted patients for zinc overdose. It happens, and you just want to be mindful because when the bottle says, you know what, don't take more than 8 in a 24-hour period, you really don't want to take more than 8 in a 24-hour period. Okay, so be mindful to really follow the instructions, because even though it tastes good, and there's some patients, we read about it, we treat it, we study it, we learn it in residency that unfortunately accidental overdoses happen. You can't take too much. And so you're thinking, well, I'm taking this zinc, I'll take a couple, and then I'll take a couple more in a couple hours, and then a couple more in another couple hours, and then before you know it, you've developed toxicity in your body, and you can get symptoms from even zinc overdose that you might not think. And those could be things like abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, nausea. And so not to be taken lightly just because it's not a high blood pressure pill, that you can cause complications. Interesting enough, a lot of people know about Tylenol. We think, be careful not to take too much Tylenol. People equate Tylenol with liver toxicity very easily. It's like ingrained in our minds. But even still, there's other medications, so I'm not going to really talk about Tylenol. There's other medications, Motrin, ibuprofen, aspirin, you want to be careful of. And when you take it, don't take too much. If you take one and you're in a lot of pain, unfortunately, especially older patients, we see it a lot where they unfortunately, and also, parents of kids, unfortunately, don't try to just remember that, did I give Tylenol or did I give Motrin? It's important to know which one you took. Tylenol is not Motrin, Motrin isn't Tylenol. Aspirin isn't Motrin. So if you take too much aspirin, and I love aspirin, I take aspirin, I love Motrin, I take Motrin and Tylenol, all of them. But you just have to be careful because even some cough medicines have Tylenol in them. And so if you take the cough medicine and then you go take Tylenol separately, you just want to be careful how you're mixing all of that, because it can cause an accidental overdose. Okay. When it comes to aspirin, you definitely want to be careful. I have had cases when I did trauma, when we did poison and worked with the poison center, where accidentally people are in pain, so they may take a couple aspirin, and then 2 hours they take a couple more aspirin. It helps their pain. In 2 hours they take some more aspirin. You want to be careful doing that, because aspirin can be lethal. Aspirin overdose, accidental, it can be fatal. So if you have loved ones, you have older people who are alone and in pain, remind them to keep taking those medications, okay? And to definitely follow the instructions, because we see it a lot. We see it a lot where, unfortunately, think that maybe it's over-the-counter medication and it would be safe. But anything in excess, even over-the-counter medications, can be potentially dangerous. So I wanted to come on, do a Facebook Live, and let you know of what we're seeing some of right now in the type of season that we're in, where over-the-counter medications, I love them, but you want to be careful to keep doing those also in moderation. I'm Dr. Jerisa ER with your today's tip. You can follow me on all the social media. Until next tip, continue to have a happy new year, guys. Bye.